Hello, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to today's broadcast. My name is Ileane Smith, and the first thing I want to do is introduce you to my co host for today, Deborah.
Hey there. Good to see you, or good to hear you.
Yes, it is. It's been a month.
Yeah, I can't believe how fast time is going.
Yeah. Deborah, I'd love for you to introduce today's topic and get us started with the discussion.
And welcome to Tom and Sam joined us. Welcome. Glad to have
Uh,
you guys here.
yes.
So our topic is monetization for bloggers in the new. Excuse me. I can't believe I choked on ice. Is that even a thing? But anyway, let me
Uh,
start again. Monetization for bloggers in the new era. Oh, and Martin joined us. Hello, Martin.
Hey, Martin.
So, I've been thinking so many things have changed in like I'm just going back, let's say 10 years, maybe 15 years. So many things have changed. We've had COVID, we've had economic changes, I mean, the world's always changing. But do you remember the days where it was pretty easy to say, hey, I need to pay this bill. Let's go out there, let's write an article, and you could make $100, $600 just writing. Do you remember those days?
Yes, I do, but it's hard. It's hard.
Yes.
It's just, and it could have been before a lot of the updates that Google was making that may have
Mhm.
changed some of those things. Yep.
But I've heard more and more people coming to me and say, "Hey, I can't make money like I used to make, and what's happening, and is blogging dead?" And a lot of even myself, I kind of took a break from blogging. I've come back to it the last month, and I'm cleaning out the dead wood. I'm finding articles that are like, "Wow, did I classify that as an article? That was like what 300 words? Is that really a blog post?" So I've been deleting a lot of stuff off my own blog, but it's reminding me how much fun we had back in, oh, I don't know, like 2013, 2014 into like 2016, back in those days in the blogging community, back before Google took a dislike to what Ann Smarty was doing. Do you remember remember back her blog post to stick a fork in it? And yeah, Google Matt Cutts did not like that.
Yeah, I was going to say the days of Matt Cuts. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yep. Yep. So I went out and I tried to find, how much has stayed the same. Are there still opportunities for bloggers? And I think there really are. If you get really creative, I think there are still a lot of possibilities. So I have like 30 different options. I confess some of them, like blockchain stuff like that, I don't do and I'm not as familiar, but some people are. And so there are some options there. And I'm putting together an article. I don't have it done because I was actually like working all night to come up with a list. So I'm looking forward to maybe having that by next month's topic, actually having all the resources and the links and having this all fleshed out. But at least I have the list. So we have something to work from on that one. But we have like the classics, the stuff that we were even doing 10 years ago. For instance, affiliate marketing, email marketing, affiliate text links, which is kind of, in the same category as affiliate marketing. The difference between affiliate marketing straight up and affiliate text links, the text links would be when you're putting links in your blog posts and you're just focusing on, you're a blogger, you're focused mostly on writing your blog articles, but then you're making sure that you're putting affiliate text links within your writing on your blog post or maybe your guest blog post. You're putting on other people's as invited on other blogs. But the versus affiliate marketing may be that you're mostly doing, and this is where I would love to hear your thoughts. We'll come back around after, 2 more items and hear your thoughts, Eileen, as far as affiliate, because 'cause you're an awesome affiliate marketer. So that's like the broader that you do, maybe not even with a blog. I know you have a blog, but I mean, people can do that with, for instance, Amazon. So, the next one is product reviews. Again, another area where Miss Eileen is awesome. Freelance writing and ghostwriting. I put that under the classics. And let's see, was that all 5? Product reviews, that's actually all 5. So that was affiliate marketing, email marketing, affiliate text links, product reviews, and freelance writing and ghostwriting. And don't worry, you guys don't need to take notes because I will have this in the article for you. Worst case scenario, the latest would be this time next month. So let's pop back and Miss Ileane, do you mind commenting on the affiliate marketing and product reviews? I know we've talked about this other months, but you are so awesome in those categories.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I also want to just in case they didn't notice, for Martin and Tom, I also sent you the invite to speak. So if you want to chime in on this topic, please feel free in case you didn't see that. So I know sometimes people can be multitasking and they may not have saw my invite. So it went in terms of the affiliate marketing. My favorite way to monetize any of my content, even the blog, as I started the blog back in my first blog back in 2009. And well, actually, side note, the first way that I ever made money blogging was through a blogging contest. And I don't know if you remember those, but Google put the kibosh on those things. Really, they came down hard. But at the time when the contest was going on, it was amazing. All we had to do was write articles that featured, and in this particular case, this was run by a website in Canada. And it was about finances and things like that. So you had to list all of the people who sponsored the contest. And when I say people, I mean all of the companies that sponsored the contest, and the post that got the most shares and the most comments and all that good stuff won the contest. So probably about 30 or 40 of us entered, and it was one person who won. Then it was myself and another girl had the exact same numbers, so we tied. And then I think there was one other winner, because since we tied for second place, I think they also gave the third place person, uh, and we got money. I mean, I remember it was like $500, which is amazing that we could get that much money from writing a blog post.
Mhm.
And like I
I
said,
forgot about those, about the contests. I remember those.
yeah, and the only reason why I remember it so clearly is because that was the first money that I ever made online with my blog.
But they were
And
fun even when you like, I didn't win any of them, but they were a hoot. They were a lot of fun to participate.
yeah, but the reason why Google came down on that was basically those people were just buying links, because there was no relationship between myself and any of the sponsors. I wasn't even really talking about their topic. It was just, we were all of our blog posts were like, "Hey everyone, we're in a contest, and if you like my content, go ahead and share this, and go ahead." So you're voting for
Right.
me by sharing this post. That I didn't even we didn't talk about finance. We didn't even have to talk about finance. That wasn't even part of the criteria. So
Okay.
Google saw that, and in hindsight, looking back, I'm glad that they did do that, because imagine if they never came down on that type of content. That would just be a dime a dozen now, right? And
Right.
it
I mean, it
gone.
makes sense when you put it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. But remember, we were all naive and wet behind the ears. So we didn't
It's like
know.
keyword stuffing that we were doing like 25 years ago. Now I'm embarrassed that I ever did that.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the first way I made money. So after that, and actually during that time period, like that wasn't the only thing I was doing. That was when I was building my audience and actually started affiliate marketing. And there were products that, um, unlike what I just said about the contest, products that I actually used, that I actually found benefit from, and I would write about them and, use the affiliate links like you were saying about the text links, put those text links in my blog posts. And also, it was very popular, and I guess still is today, to put the banners in your sidebar, that linked back to the affiliate product, or in your footer, and even in your header. It just all depends upon how the aesthetics of your blog. And if you don't mind having an affiliate banner there next to your title of your blog, or what have you. And back in those days, pop-ups weren't a thing as much as they are now. And so, yeah, always enjoy affiliate marketing, because here's the benefits of affiliate marketing. You don't have to create a product. You're the person who has the audience, or you're the person who has the content platform, being your blog, and the the product is created by someone else. So you really don't own anything, and you also don't have to worry about being support, although some people may try to bug you for support. Yeah, you wrote about this thing and I tried it and now I'm having this problem. But technically, um hello, no, don't ask me about that problem. You got to go back to the vendor, or the, whatever. Usually it was software and things like that that I would be an affiliate for. So once you deflected all those those complaints, or what have you, really your only job was to be an advocate for something that you already believed in and used. And, like I said, you don't have to have stock or inventory or anything like that. If it just so happened to be a physical product, you just shared your, also, you mentioned review. You shared your review and you encourage people to consume that product or sign up for that service. Love, love, love affiliate marketing for that reason. And I see Martin has taken the mic. Martin, did you want to chime in here?
Yes, please. So thanks for inviting. I saw it came quickly and I couldn't react, but then thanks for reminding me so I could ask for talking. So I started blogging in 2002, and back in the day it was a blog advertising network called Blog Ads that had ads specific for bloggers and specific for certain niches and categories of bloggers. So you could have, as me, like a philosophy blog, and then had your ad on other blogs, and you could then also have like products and services in your on your blog. So that I did, and also created my own advertising that was related to the topic. For example, a philosophical book for an author that had it for a certain period of time. So, and also affiliate links for books that was related to the topic. So that I have used back in the day.
Oh,
So
that's excellent.
I was going to say, so basically your blog was an ad, and that's why it was called Blog Ads.
Yeah.
Now, was that the network was blog ads, or that was your
Yeah,
blog? Okay, the
no,
network.
the network was Blog Ads. So it was an entrepreneur that started it. He saw that advertising was only for the big guys and the site networks and the newspapers and the mainstream media, and but not for the smaller bloggers. So he
Mhm.
created these ads that could rotate on a certain amount of blogs. And then you could decide what niche and what categories you were in, and then you will get served, and you could accept then what kind of ads you wanted to have on your blog and put the price on it, and so on. So that was what he was trying to do back in the day. blog
Is he still
ads.
doing that? That sounds really familiar. I feel like I
Yeah,
participated in
he's
that,
not.
but
He
I
has. He's moved forward and doing other things like that. But he was really early in back in that day, and it was when it was this blog network. I was, for example, in a blog network called Pajamas Media, that lots of bloggers that joined. So that then they saw interest in that.
Mhm.
But then yeah, maybe that model didn't work anymore, or something happened, or he moved on to other things. So, but that was early in the beginning, and he was from America, but then he had programmers and others in Hungary, because he had Hungarian. Heritage. So it was interesting how he created this business and how he developed this blogosphere in that way.
Right, right. That was one of the things that Google didn't like is what they were calling Ann Smarty's, my blog guest, a blogging network or something, which
Yeah.
she didn't agree with. I didn't agree with either. I
No.
felt like it was a community,
Yep.
yes,
Yes.
but not necessarily a network. I mean, it's kind of what's your definition as far as
Mm.
I felt like it was where we could meet each other to be able to collaborate, more like a joint venture as far as do I want you to guest post on my blog and
Yeah.
vice versa. But
Yeah.
Google
Yes.
deemed it a network.
Yeah. Like blog rolling and guest blogging and blogging carnivals and all this kind of good stuff. That
Yep.
was
Yep. I
positive things,
forgot.
I think.
Yeah, I forgot about Blog Carnival. Wow, there's so many fun things back in the day. But it's up to, Google to redefine it, and it's like we need to bow down to their rules. But as Eileen pointed out, that makes sense that they shut down the contest. As much fun as contests were, yeah, it'd be kind of a lot of slush out there on the internet if Google had allowed those to continue. That makes sense as far as having quality content. And, I'm glad you brought up advertising, Martin, because that was another category that I had here as far as advertising opportunities, whether you're coming or going on that one. So there's like 4 of them I had here. There's the advertising networks, which is I think where blog ads comes under. Well, also you can, monetize your website traffic through ad networks like Google Adsense. That's another option as far as monetization. Sponsored content, you can collaborate with brands to create content, to promote their products or services, which is, somewhat related to a similar concept as far as affiliate marketing, but it's directly like sponsored content. You can sell advertising space on your blog directly to companies. And there's this RSS feed monetization. Now, I don't do this, maybe because I'm lazy, I don't know, but I haven't looked into actually doing this directly. But monetize your blog's RSS feed through advertisements or sponsored content, again, related to that sponsored content. So a lot of these opportunities could almost have one foot in 2 different categories because they're related, but it's just different options for getting creative. But again, related to what Martin was talking about as far as ad networks. So there are still, even though our gentleman that had blog ads has moved on to um, other things in his life, there are still options available. Any other, Miss Eileen, Martin, Tom, any other options as
Well,
far as advertising?
and actually, I wanted to talk a little bit about AdSense because AdSense was one of the other ways that if you had a lot of traffic, you could, do reasonably well with AdSense. Now, AdSense has changed a lot over the years, but and by that I mean the way the ads show up. They used to be more like static ads, but I think things have changed recently because of all the restrictions or limitations that Apple has put on for iPhones and not being able to do some of the tracking that uh, the AdSense folks can take advantage of. So, in other words, if you're on, let's say you're on Amazon and you're shopping for something, but then you don't check out, and then the next site you go to, an ad pops up. And especially if you're on your phone, that limitation that Apple or restriction that Apple has now, is they won't be able to track you and know that, hey, you were just shopping for a coffee maker. So here's this coffee maker, when you're trying to find out what happened with the earthquake yesterday. So that part has changed, but also, like I was mentioning earlier, the way the ads pop up. And I think at one point I got really, really frustrated with this whole idea of pop ups because it was like every time you're getting ready to read something, you're like, oh, this is exactly what I want to read. And as soon as you scroll down, pop up, or it's like 2 minutes, I mean, 2 seconds after you land on a page, pop up, and it will block what you're reading. And of course, that still happens today. But with AdSense, I think it would be super annoying because not only would it pop up at the top, it can pop in at the bottom, it can come in from the side and literally cover up the whole entire screen. And it would
That's so annoying.
also, yeah, and it also, because I don't know what kind of super intelligence that Google has, that they know what it is that you're doing on that website. So they know how to tailor an ad to look like the thing you're on that page for. And it'll say, click here. And it's like, no, that's something about that doesn't look right. I'm not going to click there. And lo and behold, that was an ad that Google surfaced for you, and it's actually brilliant if you're an advertiser.
Oh,
you know
it is brilliant. I saw one of my own ads pop up from my music site, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, where am I? Why do they have my ad on there?" It was, like, almost creepy. I'm like, "I know I haven't talked to them about sponsoring me, so why is my ad there?" You know?
Yeah, and AdSense will do that for you. So, and there's other ad networks that try to mimic Google AdSense, but AdSense is the best with that. And also because AdSense also is how you, as a YouTuber, once you get monetized, you're actually part of what the YouTube partner program, but it's really your AdSense. It works through your AdSense account. So all that data is being collected together, and it just depends upon whether you're on a blog or you're on YouTube, surfing the web, or if you're on Google searching for things, you're just going to get the ads served in different formats. And that's what makes it effective. And, those of us who have been around for a while, or even if you haven't been around for a while, if you spend a lot of time on the web, it's easy for you to spot those ads and sort of like put on blinders. Like, I'm not paying any attention to anything that's over there on the left hand side or the right hand side, or I'm not paying attention to anything that pops up over top what I'm trying to read. So it does take some skill, but if you've spent any amount of time on the web, you'll get used to the fact that it's an ad, especially if you start clicking and you end up at a website that you really didn't want to, consume. So
That makes sense.
I just wanted to say that about AdSense because I think they really do have it down to a science, and it is effective, and it's one of the reasons why people invest so much in ads through the Google ad networks is because of how effective it is, and the fact that they give us bloggers a cut in that if we decide to put them on our website. I guess it's a good thing. So, and I want to say hello to Lou. How are you, Lou? Thanks so much for joining us. And I'm going to invite you to speak just in case you wanted to join in the conversation. So go
I'm
ahead.
glad you're doing that. Thank you. Welcome, Lou. And let's see, we have covered advertising opportunities and the classics. I have some oddball ones too, but I'm going to save those till the end. So if we do run out of time, like I said at the very beginning, I will put all of these in an article and I'll make sure that I keep wanting to say tweet. I will post. I will post the link to the article so that you have the links and so forth and the information. Let's see, what's the next category? One of the categories, but I don't have this fleshed out a lot. It's literally a category and a topic all in and of itself, and it could be a whole entire. I think we've actually covered it a bit on several of these, but AI generated content. So that's a whole nother. I'm just going to say that because literally that can be like 2 hours worth of chatting on that one. It's one of my favorite topics, but that's a whole category in and of itself, AI generated content. And that's a new one. That's not something that we were talking about 10 years ago. So that is definitely something that's like 2024 and beyond. Another one that I have here is purchasing power. That one's kind of I just called it purchasing power because I couldn't think of a creative term, but I don't necessarily like that term. But under that one, I have microtransactions, and that would be like offering the option to buy individual articles, videos, podcasts, things, just anything that you can think of on your website. So you'd be blogging, but just offer things. You could have coffee cups, anything, branding, so forth on your website to your classic e-commerce. And speaking of e-commerce, that's another item on here to sell physical merchandise related to your blog's theme. So again, those two kind of cross over, they're similar. And stock photography and images. So if you're a photographer as well as a blogger, here's an idea. I mean, we walk around a lot of times with our Androids and our iPhones and we're taking pictures, and those belong to you because you're taking the pictures, as long as you're not taking pictures of something that you shouldn't be taking pictures, and you have to get someone to sign something to a release that you can take a picture of like a celebrity, but that's another topic. um, and if you can, hey, that's worth a lot of money. Now you should be selling that on your blog, but that's an option there. And again, related to that under purchasing power or selling power, whatever you call it, ebooks and digital products. So that one's kind of a classic. We were doing that 10 years ago, but you can compile your blog content and maybe you want to look at what you published 10 years ago and update it. Use the AI and add to it, add some interesting AI graphics and so forth, and compile it into an ebook. And you don't even have to sell it for that much, but maybe $5 for an ebook, and people can download it from your website. And you could, you know, create a funnel and run that towards another category that we're going to talk about, which is courses. So those are some options there. Again, a classic, but something that you could breathe new life into to be a new option for monetization in our new world. So,
Oh,
Miss Ileane.
yeah, I have some things I want to say about that. And also I want to add that twist, like you said, of what's new. And I think when we think about blogging and we think about even our websites, most of the time, you know, we're talking about WordPress, or perhaps we're talking about Blogger. I don't know, people don't use Blogger the way we used to back in the day, but that's always an option. And there's a couple of other, like Wix and Squarespace and things like that. But I think I also want to talk about some of the newer platforms that we can integrate some of the things that you were just saying with the purchasing power. And that is Buy Me a Coffee, which is one of my favorites. In Buy Me a Coffee, you can create blog posts there, but which would allow you to do your affiliate marketing and all of that within the blog post. And they also have an email marketing component that you can add into that. So, what will happen is, in terms of monetization, someone will buy you a coffee or multiple coffees, and it could be a tea or whatever you. I saw one the other day. The person said, "Buy me a potato." I don't know why they picked potato, but oh well. You can change this "buy me a coffee" to "buy me whatever." So they have donated to you, and people can follow you for free. But for the most part, the benefit of the "buy me a coffee" is that they have contributed to you in some way, And you can also set up recurring memberships on Buy Me a Coffee as well, and sell merch and all these things that what Deborah just mentioned about the physical merchandise or images and things like that, and ebooks and products, courses. And within the membership on Buy Me a Coffee, you also can, host webinars and all that kind of stuff using that email list, because you're actually getting an email list from all those people that bought you coffee. They have to enter their email in order to sign up for Buy Me a Coffee. Sort of, I'll call it a Buy Me a Coffee account, but they never really have to use it other than to buy you coffee and to get your emails. So, Buy Me a Coffee is something that it's been around for a little while, but the concept is kind of built around other similar ones too. Like even Patreon does some of those same things. But there's another one that I want to mention that I really like, in addition to Buy Me a Coffee, and that is Podpage, because I use both. I use
Ooh.
Buy Me a Coffee and use Podpage. Now Podpage is a platform where that you can have a website, and it was intentionally developed to benefit podcasters, so that every time you have a new podcast episode, you would get a blog post there, and it would have a list of all the places people could subscribe to your blog or follow your blog. But what they did is they also added on a blog component, so you can blog with your pod page that has doesn't have to have anything to do with your podcast show notes pages. And they went even a step further, which is why I really, really love Podpage. And you can connect your YouTube channel, and the same thing that it does for your podcast, it does for your YouTube channel. So every time you post a video on YouTube, it generates a post. You can once again put your affiliate links in there and mention all of your courses and all these other monetization things that we've been talking about. But it's just, to me, the new thing about it is that we didn't have these options when, back on WordPress or Blogger, or some of the other platforms, Squarespace. You had to kind of piecemeal everything together with a bunch of plugins, and they all had different looks and feels, and then they would conflict with one another, and your site would be down. So to me, these are two easy options that pretty much anybody without a lot of technical savvy or expertise could start up either Buy Me a Coffee or a Pod Page. Now, Pod Pages are not free, but Buy Me a Coffee is. So I wanted to mention those two because, like I said, it's kind of like the new era of blogging, where it's
Yep.
not it's not just your blog. It's also a place where you can sell your wares, have an email list, and all that stuff together and without the third party plugins. It's all built in.
I feel like Podpage, not that I wouldn't hire a virtual assistant, but because I'm still thinking about that too. But as far as like, for instance, hiring a virtual assistant, you have the onboarding, teaching them everything about your company, but then, training them all of your processes and so forth. And, if you're, I don't know this for sure, I'm just throwing this out there as a number. Let's say it takes at least a week to get them at least the basics as far as taking over whatever function it is that you want them to handle. Even let's say basic functions, administrative aspects to free you up so that you can do, I'll say in my case, post-production work. Okay. Podpage removes that aspect because Podpage does so much of the automating. It's not that I don't like, posting on social media, but Podpage takes care of it. So I don't even have to think about it. So I just connect, LinkedIn, I connect Twitter account, I connect all that stuff. And every time that I put a podcast, I just upload it to Captivate, and Captivate connects to I should say Podpage is checking the RSS feed, and right away it's posted everywhere. So I don't have to go train a virtual assistant to say, "Hey, as soon as you see that this episode is up, could you please go make sure you schedule a post to go out on LinkedIn, make sure you schedule a post to go out and all these things, and this is how I want the post worded and da da da, all that." Podpage just takes care of it for me.
And this is the sheer beauty of the RSS feed, isn't it? Because, when you talk about blogging, you talk about bloggers, and of course, podcasters, you have to think about that advantage of having an RSS feed, which really automates your process in so many different ways. And so, yeah, that's like I said, that's one of the reasons why I like Podpage. And most of the time I will go in there and clean up, especially now I haven't really podcasted in a while, but of course I'm active on YouTube. And so every time a post is generated from one of my YouTube videos, I will go over to Podpage, and instead of just having that automated thing that pulls in the description from my video, I go and I add more context and more resources, and unless it's a short, but if it's a regular YouTube video, I'll add, and then I will add a link to that Podpage article in the YouTube description so that people know they could get more information over on the my website, which is the pod page, and mine's is the anchorshow.com. Just putting that out there.
It looks
Because
beautiful. I've looked at it. It's wonderful.
thank you. And yeah, so I really really like the thought that we have these RSS feeds that can help, like you said, Deborah, with automating all these processes. And if I wanted to, I could also make it send out a tweet and all that. But like I said, I go back and I tweak things, and so I don't want it to do it that way. but I but I could, and having that is truly, truly such a time saver, and it is definitely a way to help with your monetization because you, even though we love YouTube and we love these other platforms, it's so nice to have this way that you also can collect emails. Oh, and the other thing about Podpage is that people can leave you voicemails.
Mhm.
I got the loveliest voicemail the other day from someone who, and she let me know that she saw my video. There was a video that I did where I was comparing two different mice. Logitech mouse, okay? Not the kind that run around your house, the kind you use to navigate on your computer. We call them mices or what, but anyway. So
That's a good point, yeah.
and she was so lovely. She said she saw my video, and she said when she saw that there was a thing that she could leave me a voicemail, she thought, why not? And she was so well spoken. You would never know that this was probably like the first voicemail that she's left for somebody. And she wanted to know which one I really recommended for her. And she gave me a little bit about her circumstances and things. And I thought, I'm so glad I have that pod page there and that little icon where somebody can just click on that little microphone and leave me a voicemail. Awesome, awesome,
So
awesome.
handy, so handy.
That, yeah. And there's other ways I could have done that with the traditional blogging platforms, but like I said, once again, it involved installing a plugin or copying some code, and pod page, all I had to do was click a button and turn it on, and I was
Yep.
good to go. Yep.
My problem is I have 7 podcasts, and it's like,
Oh,
you start adding that up. I mean, it's
yeah.
Podpage is very affordable, but you start adding that up, it starts getting very expensive. And yes, I was gonna say, Martin, I'm sure with podcasting, you definitely have something to add to that. But I just one little thing about Podpage, and this is not I'm not trying to say anything negative because I absolutely love Podpage, but I'd already referenced how they automate the social media aspect, and it's wonderful. But if you're like me and you have multiple podcasts, before you go buy that or pay for that second account, know that the social media accounts can only be connected once. I don't want to explain all the technical stuff as far as how you can connect different pages as far as through the Facebook account and all that. But for example, if you have a Twitter or X account, you can only have it connected to one of your Podpage accounts. You can't connect it to two Podpage accounts. So just keep that in mind when you're figuring out what the value is to you. If you really want both of your accounts to connect to X, just realize that one of your accounts isn't going to connect, but you're still going to pay the full price. It's not like you get a discount. And again, this is not that I'm saying anything against Podpage. Just realize that for yourself when you're making your decision.
Awesome. I'll let Martin speak, but I got a suggestion for you on that, Deborah. But go ahead, Martin, if you were ready to speak.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so it's a great service. We have it for one of our podcasts, the Secular Foxhole, and my co-host Blair, he bought for Podpage, and we have a domain there, so the secularfoxhole.live. But I have been pulling their leg a little bit for regarding the badges, because I think you should use a new podcast app or a modern podcast app that you could then send donations or boostograms and streaming satoshis. But now they have added that to the badge, how to say, collection. So you could add, for example, Fountain, Podcast Guru, True Fans, and others, and that's great because often on default on pages and so on, it's all the traditional podcast apps. So that I'm happy to see that, but I didn't know about that regarding YouTube. And that you could do that. So that was a nice tip. And also about my co-host, he has also written his own blog post. So that over time will generate, I think, some traffic and search and so on. And it's very efficient and nice in a way. So and thanks Deborah for that. If you have several ones, so that's the thing. Everything is adding up if you have several podcasts. So, but and there are some other services similar to Podpage also. But now I don't remember the name. But I could add that later on in the thread. But thanks for mentioning this, and also, of course, buy me a coffee or buy me a tea that I have as my symbol. And there is some other alternatives there also, but I see things coming. But value for value and podcasting 2.0, that's what I'm for. So thanks for mentioning this with Podpage. I think that was great to hear what you could play around with it and take some time, because some podcasts out there, they don't even use their hosting, as you said, Captivate and others, for certain reason that could be legal, but they don't have their own website or own blog for their own podcast. They only are on the they're only out there in cyberspace, and that's, I think, a missing opportunity. But I understand it's lots of work with it. For example, for one of my first podcast, Ego Netcast, I have it on Squarespace, and I haven't updated so much extra. It's only for the blog posts and so on. And I pay for that also. That's similar amount as Podpage. But now I've been doing it for so long time, and I'm a bit proud that I've done it myself. So I will keep it. But then I have to find some other use for it. Otherwise, I could spend it on another Podpage, for example. So yeah.
And
Awesome.
thank you. Oh, I was just gonna say thank you for teaching us about satoshis. I think I'm finally coming on board with the
Yeah, you're doing
satoshis.
great, Deborah.
Thank you, Martin.
Yay. That's a podcast 2.0 tab.
Yeah.
Yes. And so, um, I just wanted to ask you, Deborah, I don't know, you may have considered this already, but what about using Zapier or IFTTT to send from your Twitter that you have connected to Podpage to your other Twitters or wherever?
I have. I don't use the I have a hard time saying that for some reason. It should
It's
be really easy to if TTT. I mean, that's so easy, and why do I trip over that? But and Zapier. But I actually have another one that's I think it's integrated apps. But it's along the same lines. And I've thought of doing that exactly. We're setting up some other ones for the other podcasts to do exactly that. So yes, that's a great idea, and that is next on my list. My problem is I make lists that take about 28 hours per day, and that removes the sleep and it, days are only
Yeah.
24 hours. So
So I don't know if you already use Zapier, but I think you get what they call Zaps. You get three of them, and basically once you set it up, you never have to worry about it again.
yep.
It just works. And I think there was like one time and it went down, and they were so apologetic, and it's like, calm down, it's all right,
It happens.
Always,
It happens. Yeah.
yeah, like lose access at one point or another. So yeah, that's um another two other things that I want to mention in terms of places where you could blog. Now, I just want to say these two things, I'm not recommending them because I don't use them myself. But I want to put them out there because I know that they're easy to do, and I see a lot of my friends doing them. So I'll start with LinkedIn, because LinkedIn lets you have, and I'm using air quotes, a newsletter, which is really, you can use that as a blog. You really can. And I know people that are doing it that way, and they promote their courses and all of that. And the reason why I mention LinkedIn, because that's totally free. You have people on LinkedIn who are already business minded people. They're usually people that um, will probably have some type of disposable income that you could that would buy your courses, or your higher ticket items, your programs and things like that. And also because it does so well in search, it LinkedIn has a lot of SEO and Google juice. In fact, when I was looking up um, something earlier today, there were LinkedIn articles that were popping up at the top of search. So it always has been one that has a lot of SEO value to it. And I just think that it's something to consider, even repurposing your already existing blog content too, because it may get it in front of a different audience. And like I said, the added value of search. So the other one, and I don't really have that many benefits to tell you about this one, but I just want to throw it out there anyway, is Twitter. But you have to have the premium account, and you can write articles now on Twitter. I haven't done it, in full disclosure, but I just want to let you guys know, because I know that if you're listening to this, it may well be that you do have a premium account. And because there's so many things that go on during the course of the day, you may have missed the fact that now we can write articles on Twitter. Not exactly a blog, because there's kind of no RSS feed attached to it, but it still can be monetized depending upon your audience and depending upon whatever it is that you want to share in your articles. So, wanted to put those out there because they're new.
No,
What do
I
you
didn't even know that about Twitter. That's a new one. So now I wonder, as far as the linking and the SEO value.
Yeah, like I said, I have not done it. So I I kind of prefaced it by saying that, so you'll know I can't really answer a lot of questions about it, but and it's really brand new. So I doubt if there would be that much SEO value like right now. But
Mhm.
over time, because Twitter does have, does rank, and you will see tweets and things on search results. But over time, these articles, depending upon the quality of the people, of the content that people are putting out there, they may end up ranking. I don't know that they would outrank LinkedIn post or a YouTube video or anything like that. It just all depends, because Google at any given time may just say tweets about this topic, whatever it is you're searching for. So, or tweet Twitter articles about this. you just never know with Google, right?
That's
So
true.
it might not be a thing today, but 6 months from now, especially if you have the right thought leaders putting their content, just like we're doing this Twitter space. But literally, when I log into my work account, and I never see this on my account, but the president is always on spaces. The vice president is always on spaces, like people from NASA, all these things. So the valuable content starts to add up over here. And so I just don't want people to miss the opportunity. If you're hearing this and say, "Oh, they didn't even tell me about that." Well, I'm telling you. But with that said, disclaimer, I haven't done it myself.
Yet. That reminds me though, Medium is another option as far as blogging and possibly making. I haven't made a ton of money, but I've heard of people that make a good side income blogging on Medium, and I didn't realize 10 years ago. Well, I don't know when Medium came. I don't know exactly when they started, but that you could blog on your own blog and then copy that exact same article. Because, I always think about, let's not have duplicate articles out there. That's just not really what's recommended as far as SEO. But to go copy your article over on Medium, and because I thought of it as you have to write a separate article, but now I'm hearing that go put the same article on Medium and have it behind a paywall, which I'm thinking, but people could just go search for that article on your blog and read it for free. Okay, I just I just told people how to get the article.
So media launched. I looked it up. That's a good thing about sitting at my computer while we're doing these spaces. August of 2012.
They
Medium's been
were
around
there.
a long time, hasn't it? Oh my goodness. I would have never thought, like you said, maybe I would think 10 years, but I would never have thought 11 plus years and, soon to be 12 years of Medium. I I've tried Medium in the past, and it's hard to say that it's not that effective because I got to be honest, I didn't stick with it. I wasn't consistent, and I don't ever read anything on Medium. I just don't. But I, it's still uh, out there. It's still out there. So I guess. And when I search for Medium, people also search for Substack, Blogger, and Tumblr.
Yep,
See how Google just throws stuff out there like randomly, like what? Why are you throwing that in there? I didn't ask about stuff set, but
yep.
but it did, and that's not an ad. So
You're right.
yeah,
A lot of times I find stuff and it's on Medium, and I'm thinking I don't want to go there because I don't want to have to pay for the article because so many of them are behind the paywall.
yeah,
But
exactly,
yeah,
and it's the same way with Substack, and we might as well mention them since I mentioned that. And Substack is more like for emails, and we did bring up email marketing as one of the ways that you can monetize your blog. Sort of a little bit different of monetizing your blog, but as a blogger, you can use Substack in all the ways that we've been talking about today. I don't know if they have RSS feeds, but um, you can put on your courses, and you can't put ads. I don't think you can do things like AdSense and things like that on Substack, but it's just an option that you may want to explore. And I subscribe to a few Substacks, but I'm only getting the free content because it's kind of like that. That's what they do on Substack. They give you a little bit for free, or if you really want the nuts and bolts, you can pay. And
right.
I'm not for all that. I'm just like, nah, I'll just go to YouTube if I really want to know.
Thing
I'm
is, you
sorry.
can only pay for so much, and pretty soon,
Mm,
I mean, unless you're, Bill Gates or our former president, or you just don't have enough money to pay for everything that's out there. At some
exactly.
point, you have to draw the line. We're actually Are we really? We're coming up on the hour, and I think I didn't even get through half of these, which is fine because some of the final ones, like we haven't gotten into the online learning and the subscription models. There are some really meaty topics here, and I'm actually okay that we didn't get there because there's a lot to share. So if it's okay with you, Miss Ileane, can we continue this as kind of a part 2 next month?
Yeah, absolutely. We can do that next time. And so we don't have to worry about what our topic is going to be. But we may change the title a bit to cover those things that you just mentioned because um can you just say them again?
Yep,
Because
we
I'm
had the online learning and
online.
subscription models. So, maybe
Mhm.
communities is another word I'll throw out there.
Yep. And the only reason why I said we might change the title because you don't necessarily have to be a blogger to use these other options that you just mentioned. So
Exactly.
maybe it'll attract some other folks to it as well. And so, with that said, I just want to thank everybody for joining in the conversation today. It's been some really great topics covered where we talked about sort of the history of making money with our blogs. And Deborah, myself have been around for a while, but Martin just blew us out the window when he said 2002. I'm like, huh? Oh, but that is so awesome. And Tom, I'm sure that you have some thoughts that you may share another time. I'm not sure if you're multitasking, but we certainly appreciate you for being here, listening in on the conversation. It's been such a pleasure. And hopefully, those of you who are on YouTube listening to this, because I will post the replay on YouTube, um, thank you so much for listening. And I will let everyone, let's start with you, Martin. Where can people connect with you and follow your blogs?
Yeah, we could go to teaparty.media. Teaparty.media.
All right, great. And Deborah?
You can find me at socialwebcafe.com.
All right, and I'm Ileane Smith. You can find me at IleaneSmith.com or the Anchor Show right here on Twitter as Ileane. And so, with that said, we will be back next month on the first Saturday of the month at 3 p.m. Eastern. And you can translate that into your time zone wherever you are. It takes too long to call them all out.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks so much, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye. Thank you very much.